Good evening and welcome to another episode of our City of Mist campaign, The Reaper Soldiers. As always, this is Mr. JP Stilts, and I'm very happy to be rejoined once again by William, Eric, and Georgie. It's great to have you three back tonight. It was an interesting session last week, and, honestly, Eric, I would really like to get inside your mind and have you do a bit of a recap for us. What, in Aaron's perspective, happened last week?
All right. Well, it started simple enough. We were just trying to find another hideout to use because we're all getting a little suspicious of the Order's motives, and sometimes we just want to do stuff that they're not aware of. So we found a couple. I had looked through previous manual of the Night Owl and found a couple of former Order hideouts that had been abandoned. One was abandoned because I don't remember what the terminology was, but the other one was abandoned because of quarantine. So we checked out the non-quarantine one first because quarantines are bad. Place was just full of water. Couldn't make it through. Well, we didn't try. We kind of got turned off by the idea of water and thought it would be easier to go to the quarantined hideout, which seemed easy enough, although it was a bit spooky. It was kind of a creepy old seminary, and originally I don't think William wanted to go in because, I don't know, maybe the religious iconography, maybe not, I don't know, but one way or another, we got ourselves in there, started poking around. Everything seemed pretty normal on the surface. I don't remember seeing anything particularly unusual on the surface level. Except for there was a journal from the previous caretaker of the seminary, and it had sort of involved him slowly devolving into madness, and everybody leaves him behind. He tore out his eye because he didn't like to see anymore, and we thought, well, that's all incredibly crazy and weird, but the place is empty, so we decided to look around to see if we could find a place where it would be easy to go unnoticed by anyone. And then we found some extra information. I don't know if it was in the same journal or a different one, telling us to use our order badges at a particular pew, I believe, in the seminary school. And when we did this, it kind of phased us someplace else. We ended up in a strange room full of like funhouse mirrors, with two wings going to either side. One led to a bunch of medication stuff, including stuff from the 20th century cancer meds. The other one was there was a tremendous amount of heat blocking it off, and I may be misremembering this, so chime in to correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a tremendous amount of heat. We kind of looked around in there as much as we could. We saw this water stone, one of the three stones that was talked about when Talia Justice was telling us about what happened to the city and why people have been made to forget things. She mentioned some powerful stones. The water stone was one of it. We saw it, but we couldn't get it. It wasn't actually there. So we continued looking around a little bit. I made the brilliant tactical decision to teleport past the wall of heat down the one corridor, and sort of saw a giant blue eyeball up against the wall, and it freaked me out a lot, and I ran, and as I ran, it seems as though I got some sort of radiation poisoning from it, which was not great. Was able to kind of shrug it off. But yeah, we are in a whole different place. The mirrors don't show, they're carnival mirrors, but they show our mythos, not us necessarily. So that was eye-opening and strange. And we were trying to decide after we had, found this place and found out how to get secrets. We were trying to determine what's our next step. Do we find more of the stones? What do we do about this one? Do we try to keep this one secure? And And so we kind of were planning a little bit, and I think we decided that we were, well, I can't quite remember exactly what we decided. We were kind of talking about a bunch of different things, but I think keeping the stones safe and, well, first we have to find them, and I think that was kind of our next course of action.
Right. Yeah, it was, you guys all had kind of three key tasks, some of them more personal. First is find the stones to make sure no one else has them. There was see how Willow is connected to the stones. And then there was the thought to clean out or clear out the abandoned safe house as another safe place to store people, because using the funhouse safe house seems to not be a great idea. That
Right.
was, yeah, that's where we left it. And absolutely, it was, you just, you found a bit why I was quarantined. You can understand how seeing, no longer seeing yourself but as something else completely, and it could absolutely be far beyond what the three of you, I should say two of you, saw of yourselves, but all three what you saw of each other. It seemed to be a place that they used to see what was within those that are awakened. A very early way for the order to tell, kind of how whatever they did to you to realize what powers and abilities you have. This was kind of a way they did that, but clearly it's a dangerous way. And yeah, I can only imagine if you had something much darker within yourself, what you would see within that area. And yeah, that hot room, there was a portion kind of in the back where it looks like someone sat down and then melted through the room. And at first it kind of looked like there may have been a black hole or something, but that was just the pupil of a very large eye, of something that was peering into the room. So all in all, just a very strange place. Yeah, the cancer medication, some that seem ancient. We're talking old clay vials of strange things that Georgie kind of latched onto, recognizing some of the herbs and flowers and vegetation that's within, to current, 20th century cancer medication, and all the realm in between. It was just a very strange place. And also there was, before you even got in there was an alluring sense of incense or candle smell. It seemed to lure you into the location. You did find a candle down in the little library, the room that had the stone behind the glass and all the keeper notes and all that kind of stuff. There was a candle there, but it doesn't seem it's been lit for a very long time. So where that smell came from, it's not quite clear. So yeah, all in all, a very strange place. You all had kind of left that facility. It wasn't super late. I mean, we're probably talking 6 or 7. It might have felt like you were down in that room a lot longer than you were, just because and that's the strange part. You realize, like, where's the light coming from? And it's almost like there was just light present in the area, but there was not a single source for it. The candle wasn't lit. There wasn't like a lantern up above. It was just all these mirrors seeming to, again, reflect or show light, but where it came from is unclear. But you're out a little bit later in the evening. There's each one of these current tasks obviously has a wide range of things that would need to be done to accomplish them. Right now, it's been 2 days, almost 2 days, since you spoke with Talia last. Her direct order, was to locate anyone else that might be connected to this symbol, the power symbol, as she called it. She wants to have these people brought to them, to their facility, this strange tower in the middle of downtown. She was going to be the one to go handle everything everything else. You've learned quite a lot since then, that the Power Stone is not the only stone. You've learned this Water Stone seems to clear the mist. It eliminates the mist. And again, the mist is what kind of allows people to not go insane in the city. It allows the humanity to still exist. It's what covers your tracks when you're using your magic. It's what makes you still appear human when you go full on vampire. It allows the citizens of the city to not fall into grave fear. But that stone seems to clear all of that away, and you see for what is truly within yourself. So as you all, we can discuss, maybe you ended your day there, you went home, you decided to think for a moment and to reconvene in the morning, or you had a specific location in mind that you wanted to head out at that time. The three of you are together. So whether it is setting up a plan for tomorrow's doing or a place to go for now, the table's yours. What would you like to do?
As much as Georgie would love to stay and chat, she has a charge she has to go check on because she left her alone after saying she would leave her alone. So I need to go make sure Willow's still alive.
Right.
Oh boy.
Hopefully in one piece.
Let's hope so.
Hopefully.
All right. So Georgie's planning to head back, check on Willow. Eric, William, do you both plan to depart for the night? Does this conversation include, I guess, what would you, specifically you, Eric, having to know Willow a bit more, is there any conversation before Georgie leaves about what the plan is for the next day? Anything she should be on the lookout for, anything like that?
I don't think I can come up with anything right off the top of my head about that. I am a little... No, I think we talked about this and discarded the idea immediately about possibly bringing her to this weird mist-deprived place. She'd probably lose her mind. It just doesn't seem like a safe idea to take a pregnant woman there. I know we had kind of talked about trying to clear out the other hideout a little bit so that we wouldn't have to rely on leaving her someplace with other people who may or may not be shady. So maybe that's something that we start doing tomorrow. Go over there and actually get a better look at what's in there, see if there's anything else that's really bad.
Right. So, and William, I guess, is there anything... It's been an interesting day. Again, the historian part of William is putting these pieces together of these vague moments of history that seem to have been discarded. And you just can't seem to think that you don't care about that anymore, because you have not only found a source for the most glorious food and fuel that you could have ever found. On top of that, you've created life, not just with your wife. And it's been a few days since you met with Marcus. Or Marco, I should say. Marco, not Marcus. The night's still a bit young. What would William be doing?
No, you make a good point. I should probably go check in on the kid. make sure he's not dead or something. And I know Talia went over there to deal with the problem, so I don't know what's happening.
Right. And Eric, it's been a little while since you really did any kind of prep for your show or anything like that. At this point, seeing everything that you've seen lately, and your show's still about 2 weeks out, how important is the show at this time to you? Has it just faded because now real life is more exciting than anything you could put on for crowds?
It's a bit less about the excitement factor, although that's definitely an element. It's more like, now that I know, I guess the fact is that I wanted to know more, and now that I've learned some of the things that I was looking for answers on, I can't. It wouldn't be responsible for me to just slough it off and go back to doing the celebrity thing.
Right.
So I think it is fading for him a little bit. He still needs to do it, obviously, because that's where the money is, and he owes it to his family. But so he's definitely gonna invest a lot of energy into that, just because of them, not because of the show itself anymore, but because he wants to be successful for them, to make their lives easier. So he's gonna work on it, but now it's always going to be second fiddle to what is actually going on in the city.
Right. Yeah, no, it's the recent knowledge. Still, you got to kick Thad's ass. You got to make sure that he gets knocked down a peg or two.
Yeah, he's got it coming.
Yeah. Awesome. So as you three kind of head in your different directions off to deal with the more unique tasks for each, kind of transport ourselves there later at night, probably about an hour later. Georgie, you find yourself in the blue collar district heading to Rubble Square. There's a few women that are standing outside smoking, probably just got off work and are just spending some time conversing. Probably give you the typical nod or a simple smile, hello, but they seem to be amongst themselves, just conversing. Head inside. You can hear that there's still some women down in the dining hall. Probably dinner was just served not that long ago. Maybe they just got in late, or maybe they're in the process of cleaning up. There's probably a small little parlor room where you can probably hear a couple other voices. Maybe they're playing some kind of cards, or just general kind of conversation going on. Head upstairs. You can see a few of the rooms are already closed shut. That there are some early risers, people that need to get to bed early, and get to your room. You can see the lights on, the doors closed.
I want to say I just go in. There's a small part of me that's like, is she okay?
Right.
So just a small hesitation, and she'll bite the dust and just go in.
Yep. Swing the door open, and you can see that Willow's sitting up on her bed. She has her back up against the wall. Across her, it looks like probably a very thin blanket, something that may have just been discarded, and she has a little sewing kit, and she's just going through trying to do some very basic patches to some rips and tears in the blanket. She hears a door open, looks up to you, and just gives you a smile. Goes back down, tries to do another thread. It's still a bit difficult for her. There's a few times where she near misses, pricking her finger. The stitch itself is kind of jagged, loose. It's not that good, but she seems to be enjoying a kind of a very basic task, knowing that the end result will be something that she might be able to use.
How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. To be honest, my hands are getting a bit sore, but I figure the more I practice, the stronger they'll get. So Bit of quiet time for myself, and figured I should put myself to work. Somebody had just thrown all these blankets down the hall, and I don't know what happened to them. It looks like they used them in a tug of war. Figured I might as well try to tighten up my stitching a little bit. Try to get better for tomorrow.
It's good to hear.
How about you? How was the rest of your night?
It was fine. It was fine. It's more like she's trying to convince herself, honestly.
Right. Oh,
I mean, it's heavy.
What does Georgie's face look like at this point? Is there her normal kind of stoic self, or is it more? Yeah, what emotion is currently represented on Georgie's face?
It's a lot of the usual kind of like resting bitch face, but it's straining to keep it there.
Right.
It's like a lot of twitchy kind of half smiles, and it's more about like convincing herself at this point that it's fine. It's it's fine. But it's a lot to process. Everything that happened before now,
Right.
like fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. To be honest, I think Willow probably doesn't even pick up on it that well. I mean, you see her for the first time, kind of. She doesn't seem frightened. She doesn't seem scared. She doesn't seem hesitant. She just seems active, productive, and a bit happy, and again, today's work, it probably wasn't that difficult. She was able to just come home, maybe have a conversation with a few of the other women here, spend some time with them, start forgetting about the past few days, and that's been good. She probably says, you look tired. Let me know when you need the lights out. I'm fine. I know we have to get up early in the morning. I could probably use my rest. Yeah, just gonna sit here and keep practicing. If you wanna, your guidance is appreciated. Any tips you have, I could surely help to steady my hand. I know how busy you're gonna be getting soon, so I'd like to be able to offer as much help as I can.
This is kind of like a tired forced smile, and I'm gonna go outside for a little bit. I need a bit of air. You go ahead and keep working on that, and
No.
don't stay up. Just go to bed when you're done.
Oh, okay. I'll see you in the morning then.
Good night.
Kind of smiles, watches you leave here. Just continue. Maybe readjust herself on the bed, get a bit more comfortable. You head just out to the street. Are you going? Where's Georgie going?
I'm gonna go out for a walk around the block. Whether that takes me a little further or not, it just, I guess, depends on, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's about 8 or so. You know, the moon's come down. There's a few clouds in the sky. The temperature's dropped around this time. Most, you know, it's still summertime, so there's still kind of that gray light everywhere. Probably a few teenagers, you know, out kicking rocks and general ruckus. There's still a few people making their way home from the industrial area. The streets aren't as populated as they were, but there's still traffic. No one seems to be interested in conversation, though. It's kind of too late for general conversation. It's more, if they're out on the streets, it's because they have a specific place to go. They're either going home, they're going to the pub, they're going to a place. The time of courtesy, it's more just keep your eyes down on the road and avoid confrontation at all cost. Where, I guess, what is the what's the main thing that's hanging on Georgie's mind as she begins to walk down these streets, following apartment building by apartment building, you know, smelling the mixed scent of cigarette smoke and laundry that's been hung out on the lines, hearing the various dogs bark, the cats meow, the few children that are still playing laugh and cheer, the general summer sounds around.
Kind of a lot of um, I don't want to say self-reflection because she's, well, I mean, like, she's always like, why is this my lot in life and all that nonsense, but it's like, why was she chosen for this? And kind of like all that existential.
Right. How, having
Yeah.
seen what's within her, I mean, the fire in that woman's eyes that looked back upon you, um, the dream that you had about Willow, it definitely seems to be someone has taken control of your life as it were a very fast car and now has the pedal to the metal, as it were. Everything is just speeding far and fast ahead, kind of out of your control. As you reflect on this, that loss, that there is some element of, maybe it's not your life but your future, that you can't quite get a grasp on. You can't quite get the read of the room, as it were. How closely does this go back to the feelings you had when, as a child, your first few months or years at the orphanage? Did I lose you?
Sorry. I used the manual, what do you call it?
Push to
Mute
talk?
on my microphone. Yeah.
Mhm.
I keep forgetting whether it's triggered or not. It's kind of like a weird spot for her because she's like, I wanted this sort of affirmation that I'm meant for more and that I'm capable of more. But now she has something to lose. That being everything she's kind of had to build up by, clawing herself to the top and all that. And so it's just kind of like, she is afraid to lose it. She is afraid to lose what she's managed to gain for herself. And whether this risk is worth it. So it's just like kind of a back and forth and trying to convince herself that
Right.
this could play out better, or she could just lose everything.
Right. I think the element of basically getting from the bottom to the top, and the fear of losing it all, you feel almost that burning inside of you, like influenced by that. You might even feel your face get a bit flush as you just focus on not the fear, but like how much strength it's going to require for you to keep control of all this, to not allow failure to even be an option. And it's like someone just tossed a bunch of coal into your engine. You know, you feel that fuel, that fire burn deep within you. Having learned so much about the city itself, Georgie's goals and her intentions are quite personal. Looking around the various faces of the city, of the people, the friends that she has, what is the biggest risk Georgie would take to keep what she has, to not fail?
Oh man, I think that's like her biggest issue right now. That despite of her bravado, that fear of failing is very, very strong.
Right. So what would she risk to keep from ever failing?
I don't want to say anything, but
okay, maybe
everything.
maybe let me switch it around then. Make it easier for you to choose something. What is something Georgie would never risk in order to keep herself from failing? So if the opportunity to never fail again was there, what is one thing that no matter how luxurious that option might be, she would never risk?
I guess herself. Her personality, I guess, like her traits and all that. She's just, it's literally the only thing she has if stripped of anything else. With this new, I guess, I don't want to say puppeteer, but like somebody who's pulling her strings through these powers. It's just kind of like, I don't know if it'll be me in the end, or ultimately it'll be somebody else acting through me.
Right.
So she risk almost anything if it's to stay herself. Which is kind of weird answer.
No worries. So as you take some time to walk around the blocks for a bit, we transition and find someone else walking down the streets, but the streets have changed. It's no longer apartment-like buildings. It's clearly the more slummy tenements, as we see William beginning to make his way into the West Slums. You notice, William, that there are no longer barricades. Barricades are all clear. You do a quick, large smell just to get a feel on the situation, and you notice that there are lights in various rooms across the tenements. There are few people on the street. Older men smoking cigarettes, cigars, maybe a few people in their window. You might even hear some loading and unloading of various things off in the distance. Kind of walk down the street heading towards, I'm assuming, the tenement that the Silva's in. Is that where William would be going to?
Let's go check on the blood bag first.
Right. Heading off. And it's actually not that far away, because you were right down the street. Yeah, there was...
Little Duncan in there.
Yeah, good old Duncan. He left him in the basement of a pub. You start to see the various lights around. Well, wouldn't you know it? If they open up a district, what's one of the first buildings they're going to open, especially if it's the slums? Yeah, that pub is open. Lights are on. There's people in it.
Oh boy. Well, I'm guessing he's not there anymore. And I'm not too worried about it. But I gotta check.
Right. It's one of those corner pubs, kind of like, I would say very much like this Dave's right here in this picture, where it just sits on the corner. It doesn't have this building back behind. You know, there's like an alleyway that goes back there, and that's where you found those stairs that lead down into the basement, where they keep all of their supplies. Up top, you probably see about 10 individuals. 3 of them are completely just passed out on the bar drunk. The rest of them seem to be in the various stages of getting there. There's one older man wearing kind of a leather, almost looks like a butcher's outfit, but kind of the outfit of a barman in the back, clearly serving drinks. It's not a hopping place. People are here for one reason, and that is to get drunk. That's it, to drink their sorrows away. There's no piano player. There's no one singing in the corner. This is not a place of joy. It's just a place to get drunk off your ass and forget about the day's events.
Well, I'm just gonna skip the whole upstairs and try to go downstairs.
Right. So you head around the back door, or head around the back alley to where you had found that back door. You notice the back door is open a little bit. There is one of the old empty bottles kind of being used as a doorstop for now. You can smell a bit of the smell of alcohol, cigarette and cigar smoke, probably body sweat just pouring out of the back area. And again, you remember the layout, like opening this, you have to go in a little bit, and then there's stairs that go down off to the right, or you can go to the left, and it kind of goes back behind the bar, and you can head in there. But yeah, the door for now, it doesn't appear to be locked.
Well, I guess I'll go in and make sure I leave the door open.
Right, are you just full on walking in at this point, or are you trying to sneak in?
Well, there's nobody there, right? It's just outside, isn't it?
Right. I mean, it's just the back door to the facility. There's no one there at the door. And you got, probably about 10. Yeah, no problem. I mean, you're in. It's not locked. You can probably hear some conversation. The bartender's talking to someone about their day. They are talking a bit about the police. They're really pissed off about something. There's been some wide searches. They've seen a whole bunch of people arrested over the past day or so. Like, they've been just carting people out. They seem to be going door to door asking strange questions. But they seem to be fully involved in their conversation over there.
Well, then I'm not going to worry about them.
You might have something else to worry about.
Yeah, I heard it. I'm not worried about it because it's just gonna be me anyways. It doesn't matter. But I'm just gonna go on down like I work there, or
Yeah.
like I own the place. I'm just gonna go look for my flip bag.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can head downstairs. Go ahead and give me a D3 roll here, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
it's Eric.
it is
Get
Eric.
screwed, Eric.
Perfect. Eric, give me 2d10, por favor.
Okay.
It's not me for once. Yeah.
Yeah, usually when it's me, it's something really weird happens.
A
All
rare
of a sudden, a
chance.
meteor strikes, and it's filled with aliens.
That's probably terrible.
Yes. High is bad.
All right, let me just note that away.
Oh.
Let's see what.
Let me just
what
write that
happens.
down for the future. Yeah.
I don't like it.
You won't see it until the climax of the story, and then
Well, won't see it until we see what Eric's doing. I'm not sure what Eric's up to at the moment.
Eric's just hit by a trolley.
William, you make your way down these steps, and you look towards the corner where you had stashed up Duncan. He's still there. He's slumped down, facing away from you. It doesn't look like anyone's been down here yet.
Ah. Is he still alive?
You can smell him. He's definitely still alive. You can probably
Good.
hear his heartbeat.
I'm hungry, so we're just gonna finish the poor man off.
Right. Just gonna go and kill him. Okay.
We're gonna drain him.
Yeah, that's honestly not even. Yeah, that's gonna be a hit with all you've got. And this is just gonna be basically how quick this death is, as Duncan sitting there in a decent outfit, his glasses kind of askew off to one side. You still see the dark stains on his collar, the 2 bite marks on his neck. His face is shallow, a bit pale. His breath's fairly raspy. He just looks like a drained man even before this begins. What tags are you using here to hit with all you've got?
Hold on just a second.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna use the martial arts, so we can make sure he's not gonna start flailing around, and the super speed and the strength to carry a bowl. To pin him down and do it quick.
Right.
And up. Hey!
Absolutely. So power of 3. Do you have dynamite on that?
I don't know. I wish I did.
I don't think you do. I don't think that's one we roll that often.
Let's take a risk. Oops, not on that one. There's nothing on that card. Gosh, the delay for flipping these things when they're in a different window. When you try to convince someone to join your cause, it's dynamite. That's not it. I don't think I have dynamite. I do not.
Right. So you get to choose 2 there. You're already. I mean, obviously, you're already doing a tier 3 drained status. What are the other 2 that you take there?
We're gonna control the collateral damage.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure it's not a mess and people are gonna notice. We're gonna get them good. And
Right.
add an extra tier there. And we're gonna take cover while we're doing it. Probably just-
You only choose 2.
I only choose 2 out of 3?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So well,
Oh,
for the
yeah,
power
I
of
can
3,
read
that's
it
the
now.
status you're doing, and then you choose 2
Okay.
on top of the status.
So then we'll get them good, and then we'll control the collateral damage.
Perfect. And it's a good thing you did, because as soon as your teeth pierce into him, you feel his urge to scream out, but you quickly go and cover his mouth, keep him silent. You can feel that sweetness begin to fill your throat. You feel every hair begin to spring up like the room is filled with electricity. You can hear the various talking upstairs a bit clearer. Your senses go ahead and revitalize themselves. Go ahead and take... Yeah, go ahead and take a... We'll say this is a tier 3 well-fed status.
Does this heal my minor pain?
Well, actually, let's make it juice. Yeah, let's say this is like well-fed juice, and you can use that juice to heal your minor pain. So spend 1 of it, and you have 2 left over.
Okay, I'll change that to well fed then.
Yeah.
And I'll have 2. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm back to being me, baby.
All right. So you control the collateral damage. He's not able to flail around because you have him tied up to this area. So there's really nothing he can do. He just has to sit there, take it. You keep him quiet. He's not able to scream out, try to get anyone to help. You just find yourself in this basement, consuming this meal that, oh, it's so good. It's so good. You probably feel your fangs get a little bit longer. Your nails grow a little bit. You're not going full beast like you were, but you can feel the urge that if you wanted to, you totally could. You have that power within your grasp. As you kind of finish your meal, maybe you use the backside of your tie or a handkerchief or something you have on you to kind of dot the little bit that's on the side of your mouth. You've kept it clean. His body now just kind of lays limp. The wound on his neck almost clean. You can still see the markings on there, but it's just, there's no blood. He didn't waste a drop. But
Oh boy.
now you have a body in a basement. Who knows? It's the slums. They clearly haven't come down here yet. Who knows how long it's going to take for them to come out of there. The smell might be able to attract them at some point.
Yeah, I'll be long gone by then. I'm not worried. Just another casualty of something they probably don't even remember anymore.
Right. So you just head back up and leave him?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's like off behind a box somewhere. I'll put a box in front of him.
Right. So you try just kind of scoot some things
That way,
in front.
if somebody doesn't see him at first glance, it's okay. Maybe.
Right. You head back out into the district now revitalized. You're hearing conversations from rooms high up in these buildings. You're smelling probably what you would consider to be hideous scents from these bar patrons, their blood full of liquor. You're not looking to party tonight. Those are common. You limit yourself to only the best of the best. You begin to walk down the street heading towards the Sova Stronghold, that 4 or 5 story building that you had been to for a bit. You had climbed up the side to attempt to get access to Amy Hill, and that's when you remember, wait, she was special too. like a dog on a hunt, you just use the scent of her blood. You're able to smell through the muck and the mire of just the common blood and find that one special scent. Before long, you find yourself in front of the Sova stronghold. You notice that all of the rooms on the left side of the building, you would remember that's Yasmin's place, Mother Nora's room, one of the Sova gang's room, a storage area. They're all dark, completely darkened out. The only light's coming from the bottom kind of right half. There's no movement that you can see up on the roof. You don't see anyone looking out. There's no guards standing out front. The building looks very similar to the others. There's not a lot of people outside, which is strange. You would know this place is supposed to have guards out front. It's supposed to have people watching over it. Taryn's supposed to be up on the roof, being the scout. I mean, it's a gang facility. There's supposed to be activity. But for the moment, no one's outside.
Well, guess I just try the door. I'll be polite. I'll knock on the door.
You knock on the door and you hear some movement. After a while, you hear a couple things unclick, unlock, and the door opens. There's a young man standing there. He's wearing the outfit of a Sova. You can see a rifle slung around his back. He kind of opens it. Doesn't quite recognize you. Yeah. What is it?
Greetings. I'm looking for Marco.
Marco, you got business with him?
Yes, he's an old friend of mine. I once saved his life.
You saved his life, huh? Yeah, I got...
Tell him that William's here. He'll know who I am.
When's the last time you were with him? When's the last time you talked with him?
It would have only been a couple days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been 2 or 3 days ago.
Starts to look a little bit confused. Yeah, no, I mean, there's been, the whole district's been shut off for the past couple days. Said it's William? How do you... Saved his life. What's your business with him?
Like I said, he's an old friend of mine. I've come to catch him.
Yeah, he's not available right now. I'll tell him you came, and when he can, he'll reach back out to you.
Not available, huh? He can make himself available for me.
Yeah, look, man, he's sick. He's with Mother Nora. She's taking care of him. Like I said, when he's able to, I'll let him know you came, and he'll come and find you. Where can he find you?
I think I better come in and check on him. If he's sick, I want to know.
Nah. Wait here. I'm gonna go get his dad. Yeah, I'm gonna go get his dad. Shuts the door. Hear a few extra locks. Click, click.
One of those, huh? Okay. Well, I guess the rest of them are gonna have to die too. I don't know. I'll wait.
After a couple more minutes, you hear all the door locks unlock. Door opens. There's a older Italian man standing there, dark hair, kind of a thin mustache, wearing a kind of a smoking jacket. Looks old. It's kind of hunched over and looks out. I hear you're looking for my son. William, this one says. How is it you know my son? I don't believe we've met.
No, we wouldn't have. I met your son a few days ago. I saved him from some kind of attacker. Somebody was trying to kill him, and I happened to come along and, I suppose, beat them up and saved him.
Oh, yes. Behind that building there. Yes, you're the one that brought him home. You're that William. Absolutely. My name's Oscar. Oscar Ragucci. I am Marco's father. It is a pleasure to meet you finally. He's spoken. He was raving about you all day yesterday. I'm afraid. Please come in. Kind of puts his arm behind your back and ushers you in.
All right, I'll come in with him.
I'm afraid poor Marco. He's come down with some kind of cold. Mother Nora's taking care of him now, but he's had this. He woke up with this horrible fever today, sweating bullets. He was saying his head was pounding in pain. She's trying to care for him now, trying to get the fever down. I have no idea what might be causing it. Maybe a bit of. There's so much stuff. Maybe it's just stress. Yes,
Maybe
please.
A bit of bad meat. Yes, let's check in on Marco. Perhaps I can help. I have some basic first aid. I learned it while teaching at the school.
Yes, very well. Please follow me, and I will have Mother Nora advise you of what is going on.
This is gonna be fun. Okay, well we'll follow him and see what happens. I might have to kill a few people, but you know.
As you get to that side entrance and you look inside the medical room, you can see there are 3 people in the room. There's Henry, who is still locked down, strapped up to the table. Seems to be passed out. There's Marco. He's laying on his side on one of the cots. There's a bucket next to him that you can smell that foul, acidic smell of vomit. He looks wet, covered in sweat. And there's an older woman, Mother Nora. Her back's towards the door at the moment. She seems to be preparing something at her table on the right-hand side of the room. Oscar leans in and, "Oh, Mother Nora, yes, I have a guest here to check on Marco." As she turns around, I mean,
I'll give a little wave.
come on, William. This woman knows. She saw you try to attack another in this room. Your senses are heightened. This woman's not about to greet you. This woman's about to call out for all of the Sova that are still in this building to come in here, to get to her side. You have a moment before she does. Like, you see the fear in her eyes, the sweat begin to form on her brow. Time slows for a moment. Well, what does William want to do before she calls out for the Sova to come in?
I know what the predictable thing would be. Okay, well, we'll try it this way. I'll ask her if she met Talia before she goes screaming out. If Talia had managed to stop by and visit yet.
I definitely, I mean, this is going to have to be a convince here to get her to speak with you instead of. I'm just wondering if there's even. Yeah, I'm going to say you're going to have to just bring up the name Talia. I don't think she's going to necessarily hear you at the moment. She just remembers what you tried to do. She's in the same room where she was attacked by Henry. You crawled through a window, tried to attack a girl here. Now you're just showing up out of nowhere by yourself. Yeah,
I got to.
What are you adding to a convince roll here?
Well, let's see. We've got this this terrifying here. We've got alluring gaze.
Right.
And we've got an underworld reputation. Right? She's heard of me and everybody's scared of me now. I should be able to use that.
Right. I'm not sure further scaring her is going to be the best bet, but we can definitely give that.
You can terrify people into not talking. It's okay.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Okay, so let's actually hold on. Which one is it? This one? Actually, hold on. I don't have anything on that one. Shoot. Oh well. Let's terrify her into not talking. If not, we'll just kill them all. Yeah.
Right.
Oh boy.
So a tier 3 terrified status, or she can choose to go with you but detect her on agenda. What does Mother Nora do in this situation as she prepares to scream, "Stop this man"? You say, "By the way, have you spoken with Talia?"
Have you met Talia yet? How's that going for you?
All right. I don't think she would ever. I don't think she's gonna necessarily feel. Man.
The police chief, though. Banking on people are more scared of her than me.
Yeah. So as you kind of stare into her eyes and kind of give a direct, almost investigative question, you can tell it stops her. She doesn't respond right away. You can tell that there's a moment she's trying to go back and remember if she correctly heard your question. She's not looking at you as if she's scared, but she's been given a moment pause before she responds.
And while she's pausing to respond, I'm going to take a couple strides over to Marco.
She walks to kind of meet you halfway. What? You're William, yes?
Yes.
Right. Yes. Marco here has been talking about you the past few days. What brings you back here?
Well, I'm here to check up on the boy.
Kind of looks. Oscar, are you okay with this gentleman? Oscar. Oh, of course. He saved my son's life. Any friend of my son is a friend of mine. Keep a close eye on this one.
Oh, pish posh.
Yes, he seems to have come down with some kind of bug. Fever, headache, upset stomach, all of the symptoms of flu. I've done what I can. What is this you said of the inspector?
Well, I heard she recently made a journey down here. I've had a few run-ins with her. We're not exactly friends, but you could call us co-workers.
You work with that woman.
Unfortunately, yes.
Right.
Quite something, isn't she?
You do realize this woman is undoing everything you and those other members you were with have done. Everything you've worked for to create structure in this district, she's just tearing it apart piece by piece.
That's not surprising. She usually has her own agenda.
Right. You work for her, with her. What is this agenda then? What is her purpose to arrest our people? Please explain
Honestly,
that to me.
I think she just enjoys causing chaos.
Well, I can say we are grateful that for the moment there's no strange men walking our streets and our people aren't being attacked, but instead they're being hauled away in chains. Civilians
Yeah.
are safe and happy, so I guess we have that to thank you for, or would this be this inspector woman?
I don't think she's quite gotten to the civilians yet.
What do you mean?
I'm sure she intends to chain everybody who's a troublemaker up. She'd much rather lock them all away than deal with them.
No, it seems only those that were in charge of things. I'm only waiting for her to come and take me away. It's only a matter of time. Yasmin, Taryn, a few other of our leaders are... Seems they had information she wanted. Tell me, that young woman and the other man, I believe their names were Eric and Georgie. Have you seen them recently?
Yes, I was just talking with them,
Good.
a couple hours ago.
And how is Willow? Is she safe?
I assume she's fine. I think Georgie went to go check on her.
Good. Good.
She appears to have a job now,
Oh,
sewing clothes.
wonderful. As you've been talking, you can tell like she's trying to walk forward, trying to move the conversation back away from Marco. You've probably taken a step or two back, engaging, just kind of realized it now.
I'm gonna sidestep her and walk up to Marco.
She stays and looks towards Oscar.
Put my hand on his shoulder. How you feeling, boy?
William? What is wrong with me? My insides are tearing me up. Ugh. Everything hurts.
Well, have you been eating right?
I can't keep anything down at all.
You're not eating the right foods is all. I had this when I was younger as well. I'm gonna lean in and whisper he needs some more raw meat.
Right. As you lean and begin to whisper to Marco, you start to feel heat kind of on the back part of your neck. You notice that Mother Nora has moved back behind you. Is kind of standing off to your side. Seems to have her arm raised behind your neck.
Gonna be like that. I didn't think she'd be doing me like that. All right. It's all okay. I'm gonna turn around and face her. Kind of stare down at her. And ask her if she needs something.
As you turn, you see that she has a cross in her hand, cross necklace. There's a bit, almost seems like steam coming off it. She sees that. You need to go. You should not be in here. No, you must go. She goes to put the necklace back on herself and crosses herself as she does it. You need to leave now. This boy is unwell. He needs his rest. You need to go. Tell this inspector woman to let our people come home, but until Yasmin returns, you, William, you are not allowed in this building. Oscar, this man is a danger to your son. Do not trust him.
This boy is more like me than you think.
You need to leave now. I would ask for you to do this. I understand what you have done for this, and I wish there not to be violence. I know what kind of violent man you can become. I have seen that. Leave now, so no more bloodshed needs to be on our grounds. Don't make me call the guard.
I'll leave, but I'll tell Marco, just remember what I said.
You might have noticed while you were over there, William, Marco doesn't seem to be all there yet. There's a transition period that must occur between when they turn and when they are fully realized. And it seems right now he is going through that transition. You don't turn them immediately into vampires as soon as you sink your fangs into them. They have to transition into that thing.
I'm aware, but there's not much I can do about that right now.
Right.
She's trying to kill me, so...
Right now, the fact that you're reacting... I mean, you remember Mother Nora. She's all about putting, blessing the windows, the doors with her holy stuff, and anything that would have adverse reactions to her religion, she would probably see as dark. But you just, having seen Marco, he's still alive. He's still there, and honestly, there's probably a bit of you like, just strength it out, champ. It's not that bad. And what's coming is going to be so much better. And you've given him the instructions. He needs to find the right meat.
Well, I guess I'll just leave, and, I don't know, can I find Amy on the way out?
Yeah, you can smell Amy.
Just figure out which one her room is, and then not go see her, but just so I make a mental note.
Right. There's a couple rooms off to the right-hand side. You remember one of them was the mother's room, where all those pregnant women were. There was another kind of general housing area, and there's a group of people, maybe about 30 or 40 people in that room. She's in there, kind of a larger room with bunk beds and all that kind of stuff in it.
All right. Well, then I'll just leave. I'll whistle a little tune and I'll walk out the front door.
So as we hear the whistling of William fade into the night, we come across the various noises of whatever district Eric is walking through. So Eric, where were you headed to tonight? Was there anything specific you were planning to do?
Despite probably every fiber of his being saying go the hell home, after everybody else sort of broke off, he probably went back into the temple with the water stone to spend some time down there, because his whole deal has been sort of like seeing like things as they are, and getting to the bottom of stuff, and this is the closest he's come to that yet.
Oh yeah.
So he probably is going in there to just spend a little bit more time just sort of sitting in that room, trying to take in any additional information that there is, and just sort of get in touch with himself in a way that is pretty unfamiliar to him.
Right. I mean, Eric has experienced everything, definitely more than anyone else here. You fall. You walk into the main room. You place your badge on the podium. The whole room morphs around you, and you find yourself again staring at a face that is both unfamiliar and familiar all the same. Mirrors everywhere, dirt floor on the ground, the room to the left, the one with the water stone, all of the keeper's notes that you hadn't burned, the room to the right with all of the medication, the far room, the room that still makes you shudder, full of heat, radiation, and some large eyeball peering in on him. If these walls could talk, the stories they could tell. But right now, they are just telling the story of Eric.
Is that giant eyeball sort of still floating around back there, or did it go back to its place against?
So you can't really see it where it's at. Let me move to a place I can draw. Let's go to the desk. Let's drag us over to the desk. Don't know why I just changed music. That's interesting. Okay, so this should be a fairly simple thing. So we have a room up there. Comes down, another room. Comes down and around, up, other room, up, other room. Hole in the wall and eyeball on that side. So from where you were, you have the water stone over here on this side. You got the medical on that side. This is all the burny hot heat coming from this room. And so what you did is you had teleported into this room like that, and looked over here and saw the eyeball back in that corner. So you can't actually see it without going into the room. From where you kind of walk into, you just have mirrors and everything on the side. Over here you have the desk, the candle, the water stone, and on that side you have all of the different meds.
I think he's going to swallow his fear a little bit and go up to where the heat starts. Not going into that room,
Right.
because that was a real bad mistake last time. But gonna kind of go up towards it and sort of like yell into the room, like, "Can you communicate?"
Right. You see a pulse of light in the room. It's like a pure white light. A color of light that you've never seen before. Seems to flash in the room for a moment. As you're standing kind of down this hallway, give me an idea. How close to the room are you getting?
Just about where I start to feel the beginnings of the heat from that like curtain of burny.
So kind of like right at the edge here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems.
And kind of like up against the wall, like up against the wall here, so that if the thing does move, I might have at least a chance of seeing it.
And the closer you get, I'll say this, you start to feel that draining sense. There is no, the heat is the radiation.
I gotcha.
You approaching it, you can start to feel that, so you have to hesitate.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna throw myself at it again. I just kind of misunderstood things a little bit. Yeah, so before I start to feel that
Right.
that prickle and
Yeah, you see this bright flash of light from again, it seems, you probably see a shadow cast, probably across his back wall, or across the mirrors, and maybe it bounces around so you can't tell exactly where the source is, but there's probably a flash of light that just bounces around the mirrors a bit, maybe even bounces a bit out here.
Are you the keeper?
You start to smell something behind you. The candle is lit on the desk back here.
I look around. Do I see anything that might have lit it?
No, you just see yourself reflected across the various mirrors of the room. Candlelight now flickering a bit.
Did you want us to come here? Were you trying to reach out with that candle scent?
The far room begins to fill. You almost can tell that whatever was at that opening has moved away from it completely, allowing any of the bright light that was behind it to completely flood into the room.
I'm gonna just wait for a moment and see if anything else happens.
After a couple of seconds, darkness begins to fill that room once more. And then you see something get thrown across the room and dink, 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 land on the floor across the way.
Can I make out what it is?
From this far, it looks like a cylinder of some type. It almost looks like when you go to like a bank and you go outside and they have like their little bank teller canister. Kind of looks like that. Vaguely just tube like thing.
Okay. So, God, what a terrible idea. The medication room, was any of the stuff labeled for like what it is used for in
Yeah.
words that I would understand, not cancer? Although
Um,
maybe cancer was a word that I would have understood back then. I'm not really sure.
There's probably some medication from this time that you might be familiar with, specifically because your dad works in kind of the industrial area. There's things there that you might even recognize the symptoms Because there's obviously disasters that happen in the factories even back then. The miners obviously have things, so you might recognize that some of these are used to treat symptoms of someone that is just very, very, their body's dying. Whether you would recognize that as cancer or just someone that had a bad day on the job and got sick from it, you can make that up on your own. But yeah, you can just tell that whoever was taking these, they were not destined for a long life.
Okay. I was looking kind of specifically because like last week we made the rat away comment. I was looking to see if there was anything in there that might be a like a booster for resistance to whatever that energy is on the other side.
No, I mean, unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be anything to resist it. It seems everything there, it's being taken by someone that already had the symptoms, basically to stop it from progressing further.
Okay. I am going to, like, how close can I get to where that cylinder fell before I start to feel the burn?
I mean, as we look into your mythos, they were able to withstand a lot of things beyond what a normal physical person could probably do. So because of that, you could probably get close. You cannot get into the room. You could probably get closer than most people. Probably get to the edge of the room, probably right before the actual barrier to get in. So you can get kind of right to the edge. But beyond that, entering the room, unless there's a way that you can find to protect yourself from it, you're going to start to succumb to the radiation quickly. Yeah, you can definitely. Yeah, let me know what you're gonna say.
I was looking to come up with a way to kind of like jury rig I've got this night owl vest belt bandolier thing with me. Got my own belt. I was kind of.
Didn't you leave that behind? Or did you have that again? I'm trying to remember.
I think because we were going to the new hideout, I did have it with me, but yeah. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, and on there is a grappling hook.
Yeah, I would like to try to, because I don't know the properties of this heat wall. Like, I don't see anything. It doesn't look like fire. It looks like just an area that I could walk through. But when you go there, it starts to feel bad. So because I don't understand how any of this works, I'm going to try to, if I can, toss the grappling hook and line out to try to hook around that canister and pull it towards me.
Right. Yeah, that sounds... It just sounds... What are we even thinking here? I think that's just a hit with all you've got, to be honest. There doesn't appear to be anything standing in your way. You've got a clear shot, and you're using your abilities to hit something.
Okay.
So go ahead and add that grappling hook as a story tag.
Oh man, grappling hooks, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Batman.
All right, so I'm thinking elaborate planner, driven to know, and I'm thinking the legerdemain one because there is a lot of fiddly work that I need to do with my hands in order to make this work and to really catch the canister. Was that a yes or a
no? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's
okay.
That works.
All right. I think that this is going to also be a weakness for unnecessary risks, because really I'm getting entirely too close to this, and I don't even know if the properties of the radiation curtain are gonna still be like on the canister if I do pull it.
Right.
You got this. See, you got it.
All right. Which two are you selecting there?
I'd like to get the juice in case I need to resist some pain coming my way.
Right.
And get them good, I suppose, because that means that I'm going to securely haul it through without an issue.
Perfect.
Either that or so they can't hit you back, one way or the other. I guess either one of those really kind of apply.
As you toss the grappling hook, you hear kind of a solid clang. Begin to pull it back. As you kind of back away from the radiation to just pull it a bit further down the hall, you can see this maybe 6-inch long metal tube. It almost probably looks like a pipe bomb to us. Just kind of this metal cylinder, a few rings around it. It looks solid, and the weight of it, it's fairly heavy. You kind of can feel a bit of heat coming off of it. It starts to kind of almost hiss as it's on the ground. Just the various elements of water that were within the dirt in this place just kind of hiss a little bit, but you have pulled it out. It's sitting there at your feet.
I am not sure. Eric is not sure how radiation works, so he's going to wait to see if the heat will dissipate over time.
Right. You take a moment and start to hear the hiss sizzle down. There's a few times that you catch movement in the far room, as if that the figure was moving, almost pacing back and forth by that opening. After a couple minutes have passed of you sitting away from it, you kind of approach and just hover your hand by it. It's still a bit warm to the touch, but it doesn't feel like it's burning.
I'll still wrap my hands up in something so as to avoid burn.
Right.
And I'll see if I can open this thing.
As you grab it, it has this immense weight to it, and you kind of flip it up on one side. It's solid. Flip it on the other side. It's a metal tube with 3 rings on it. I think we might need to investigate it. What do you think? Because you're not seeing an easy latch or button to get this thing open.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Let's do it. What are we using for this investigate?
Definitely using the elaborate planner and the acutely perceptive tags, because those are both going to apply in figuring out how to open something like this with a mystery latch. Trying to see if I've got something else that I can throw on as a third.
Right. That paranoid tag.
Yeah.
You might actually kind of wish that you had it, because it's strange as you kind of tap in, realizing, wait, this is not, I don't feel that bit of humanity here. Like, why am I not scared down in this place? The fact that I don't have fear, is that a good thing? Again, you look at the face in the mirror and you realize these things internally, the way that you're feeling, that could be immensely powerful to no longer have fear anymore, to not be scared of anything. Like, you could go on to perform any trick, you can go on to do anything.
It is an absolute thrill to consider.
Right. And I should have mentioned it again, but as you are down here, we'll just apply it to this roll. Your logos are not here in this place.
Oh,
so all
crap.
Your tags, it's okay. Don't worry. This is our way of getting back into that. But
yeah, the problem with that for me is that means the tags that I was gonna use to open this thing I can't. So I'm gonna have to try to get really mystical with it, I guess. So how about then
Smash it with a rock.
phasing out? Maybe if I can sort of phase, if there is a catch like inside of it that I can flick using that, maybe that's something that I'd try to do, kind of like reach in and see if I can find the release.
Right.
Again, I definitely would have to say legitimate for sure. That's just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're fiddling.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if smoke and mirrors would apply here. It's not particularly a trick, but there's always a trick to getting a lock like this open.
Right. Because you're kind of looking at a trick, I think this would be, oh please, you don't expect me to fall for that. Smoke and mirrors is more when you're trying to do the trick, I believe, or I thought.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, that's 3. And I'm all alone, so neither of my weaknesses really are going to hit. This is all.
Perfect. As you kind of search around this place, you find your hand begins to phase out a bit, and you begin to search for a latch. What are your questions?
Well, the first one is, how do I open it?
Right. As you begin to look in this canister, you realize there is no opening. This is a solid piece of metal with 3 rings around it. This does not actually hold anything inside.
Okay. Do I have any idea what it might be used for?
You start to look at... You almost feel like the purpose of this, as if you are looking at the tool bag of another magician. There is a message here. This is a message, but you're looking at it through the wrong lens.
Okay, and can I ask for a lead as to how I should look at this in order to get the...
Absolutely. I mean, look around this place. Everything about this area is strange. You're not seeing yourself anymore. You're seeing something that's within you. What if you just need to look at this, not in this room, in this place that changes the way things look, but back in the real world?
Aha. Then, that being the case, that's what I'll do.
You head over, you take your personal ID up, kind of stand by a mirror as you did before. Kind of hold it up, take a moment, close your eyes, and find yourself back in the dark room of the seminary. You feel the shape in your hand has changed. No longer is it a solid tube. You can feel two long wooden rods with, feels almost like fabric wrapped around it. You look into your hands. It's no longer a silver tube with 3 rings. It's a scroll.
Okay. Yeah, I will unroll.
As you begin to unroll it, you start to see these letters, words, characters, things unfamiliar. It's not your father and mother's tongue. It's not the tongue of the city. It is not a language you're familiar with. It seems to be rushed, handwritten by ink. You can see like the drag marks where the pen or the writing instrument were hurriedly just drag across this fabric as this note was written out. At the very bottom, as you unscroll, you can see the symbol, the 2 waves, the symbol of the stone. It's circled and there's like arrows pointing to it, and it's trying to highlight this for whatever reason. This is important, but the text that's above it makes no sense.
All right. Does it look like the examples of language that we saw in the museum?
No. That was your first thought. Is this that language that Wolfram had spoken about? Is this something? Is it that? No, this is. You start to look at it a bit more, and you realize it's not. Maybe you've seen like Japanese and Japanese and Asian writing, where it's more characters. You start to focus your lens on it. These aren't actually characters. It's a series of 1s and 0s and 0s and 1s. This old-fashioned scroll has binary code on it.
Wow.
What have you discovered? What? Now the machines are gonna kill us?
Yep. I just unleashed Judgment Day.
Thanks a lot, Oz. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. This is what you brought me on for, right?
Totally. Yeah. Sure. That's usually my job to destroy the world, but
share the wealth. I don't think that Eric knows what binary is. I don't know how common. Yeah, that knowledge would be in the 19th century.
It's for what it is. You would probably that as far as Eric having the knowledge, Eric wouldn't have the knowledge. This is almost the only place you may have seen, and again, I don't think you would have. This seems to tie into the whole 20th century medicine. It's not a foreign language that hasn't been discovered. It's a future language that hasn't been created. But you, Eric, You're special. You have the minds and resources not just of one group of individuals, but two. Some of the smartest minds that you know of exist. While you may not trust them, they may have a way to decipher what this code is.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the way that Eric would see it. This is some kind of code that needs to be cracked, as opposed to a language. This is clearly a code. Is there any moment where it's like there's a clear divide between lines or anything like that? Because the reason I'm asking is because I'm considering possibly splitting up what I have into two different pieces, giving one to the people that I work for, and then the other to the order, so that I can get both pieces, but neither one of them has the whole.
Absolutely. I mean, you're as you look at it, it would not seem to be difficult to literally just copy the ones and zeros and split it up that way. The code itself, there's probably about 6 lines, maybe around, I don't know, 300 or so characters, something like that. And you would have to just figure out how you decide how you split it up. And yeah, he's back.
Oh no.
It's okay, we already had the one experience.
Oh boy.
It will be your turn, Spoon.
Right.
What? Oh no. Well, roll it and blame it on me. See what happens. Come on.
Yeah, I just, because if it was just one continuous unbroken line, I wouldn't know where to split it up. But if it is clearly divided at any point that I can split it up, that's what I'd like to do. And actually, if it's divided up into 6 lines, I'm going to get even. It's going to look sketchy as hell to the people I give this to look at. But instead of just like the first 3 lines and the bottom 3 lines, I'm thinking of sort of like staggering it. So like one group gets lines 1, 3, and 5, and the other gets lines 2, 4, and 6.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it would just take some time for you to sit down and write it down. I mean, you're transcoding all these characters. The image is familiar. I mean, again, you know exactly what that symbol is going to, that the stone that's in there. I think as Eric kind of makes his plan to, I'm assuming, are you doing it there? Are you going home to do it? Where are you going to actually?
I am definitely going to do it here. I don't need to take the stuff home and have it like infect my home. Like my poor family doesn't deserve to have to put up with this.
Right. So as Eric begins to take some time to, yeah, and you find it's a seminary. You can find parchment and pen and ink and all that kind of stuff there, no problem. You take some time, kind of find a quiet corner and just begin to write down, copy over this strange code. We come back to Georgie. Georgie, you've been walking around for a while. The streets have gotten quieter. People have gone home. You've had a moment to reflect a bit. Kind of walk by Rebel Square and see that the light in your room is off. Most of the women seem to be back inside. What's the... Yeah, what's the main question that Georgie is searching for an answer for tonight?
Is she this? Like, is she ready to get what she wanted? Like, she wanted power, and she wanted the means to be more than she is, but is she actually, like, ready for it?
Yeah. I mean, the future is so unknown. You probably feel a bit, if you look at where you've come from the past, even the past few weeks, the things that you've done for these people. You have saved lives, many lives. You have stopped fights. You have saved a district. You have cured people having voices in their heads. You have found plants that are able to do things far beyond many medical professionals are able to do. You know that there's a power inside of you that is urging you to move forward, to increase your strength, to use the seeds of power as they were to get whatever you want in this life. But you've also seen the dangers that come with the great power. You've witnessed how people can easily be hurt by things outside of their own control. There's many tests that Georgie has not had to face yet, and I think, if anything, while she may not be able to answer exactly if she is going to be able to handle everything, you're at least prepared to handle anything that comes. You have the preparation ready to face down anything that is down the path. But a good source of preparation is making sure you have all your bases covered. And upstairs in that room, there is a girl that, you know, she has nightmares. You know that Mother Nora wanted to protect her. That's really about all you know right now. There's her child seems to be special in some way. But her connection to the symbol, connection to these stones, to all of that is still unknown. So as you head back into your room, you see Willow asleep. What's Georgie's main question about this girl?
Aside from the obvious that she's an innocent kind of bystander in this situation, what is it about her that would have so many people be at risk? Like, what is her significance in this, in the grand scheme of things?
All right. Would you like to investigate for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let me know what tags.
Let's take a look-see. Alright. Always prepared. And this is her eye on the exit. And I guess since she's not awake, now's a good time to sneak, so opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
But she is emotionally distant, so go ahead and stick that on there. Investigate. Sweet.
Goodness. 14. Wow.
Nice. How is this girl tied? I mean, you already know. You've already heard about her nightmares and everything. The way that she's sleeping, you can see a bit of her side. And you can see the dark mark. It's kind of down on her hip bone. There is a marking there that looks identical to the symbol of that stone. A birthmark. But it's not her that's special. It's what she's carrying inside that is. What's your second question?
Huh. She has the same markings to the water stone or the stone of power?
The Stone of Power. The one that kind of looks like a spider or something like that.
Oh. Does her child present? Is her child a risk to the city? Like, is the child like a risk factor to, I guess, like the well-being existence of the city, I guess?
Right. The child is unique. The child has the possibility of being a great danger, like the nightmares, the whole world on fire. But also, if the child is never aware of the power that's within, they can be just another civilian as that powerful man intended. This is a Blaze son. This is a third generation child that has been attached directly to that Stone of Power. You know that if someone is able to find this child and the other two that are attached to it, if they are able to find the third generation of the other two families and bring them together, that power will be far more dangerous than anything else. That will grant them whatever power they wish, eternal power. It will destroy the city. On their own, sure. They will have unknown abilities. If they do awaken, who knows what they might be capable of. But no more than any other rift within the city, like yourself. The true danger is that they and the other two families are discovered, exposed, and then used to recreate that Stone of Power.
Awesome. Dang it. Always gotta be a kid.
They're the best kind. Eat the baby.
No, not today.
Oh, you're missing out.
Let me guess, will William know from experience then?
I mean, people in general are delicious, so why not?
I don't know.
I mean, and again, Georgie,
Okay.
you know that. Sure, you're going to try to stop other people from getting that power, but this child is absolutely a seed of power that you could use as well. I mean, you don't have to eat them or anything like that, but you don't know. You know that woman inside, the one with those fire in her eyes, she would absolutely be overjoyed if you found a way to use this power for yourself.
Yeah. I bet she would. Alright. This was not the roommate situation she wanted, but here we are. Cool. So I guess Georgie doesn't sleep tonight. Because how could she? This is wild. From the get-go. So here she is with her potential to become a god amongst mortals. And also the price of it.
Are we all gonna be tempted? Are we all gonna become gods? Is that what's happening?
Not if you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. I could sniff that stuff out, man.
Stop trying to eat people, William.
No. I have to have a hobby.
That is, take up crocheting, man.
So
Yeah,
just
or
take pictures of me eating people.
I
well,
mean,
it's still not eating people.
yeah.
You don't know that I eat people. Nobody knows. Imagine.
Well, Georgie, as you step away from Willow with this newfound information, kind of sit yourself on the bed. You hear kind of a clang, a bit of a crash outside.
I'm gonna go and see what it is.
You notice that the little... You have like a little... It's not like a gutter, but there's a bit of like sheet metal that was down beneath your window has been bent, like someone has been standing on it looking through your window.
Barely creepy at all.
Yeah, not creepy at all. Do I see anything? Can I see?
It was Mike.
Nope.
Damn it! Go home, Mike!
The street is empty and quiet. Whoever, whatever was here, left in a hurry.
I didn't... There were no, like, footsteps or anything like that heard.
No, eerily quiet. Not natural.
Cool. This isn't really my area of expertise. It's more like launches. Can I see? I'm gonna go outside
Mm-hmm.
and I want to see if I can see anything in the grass. Like, I wanted to tell me if there's any fresh trodden blades and if there's a trail or anything like that around.
Yeah, let's do an investigate. Because you've used plants a bit in the past to kind of use them at the church to see who entered the church. You've kind of used them to see like the recent history of places before. So I'm totally for that.
Do some green speech. And always prepared. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and ask your questions.
Yeah, it's do I see anything fresh that's trodden or looks like somebody's been here very, very recently?
You notice the distinct lack of that, as if whoever was here, you would expect to see some kind of trail. The fact that you don't see any kind of makes you feel like they might know what you're able to do and are doing everything they can to avoid being detected in that way.
Good thing I don't have a paranoid lag, because sitting in.
Sorry, you were cutting out there a little bit.
Is this any better?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, good thing I don't have a paranoia tag, because that's.
What do you mean by that?
Because it's real thick in there right now. That's suspicious. I want to say Jordy's mind goes back to the order like immediately, because they know where she is. They know her capabilities, and yeah, I don't know where the other two live, do I?
No.
Cool.
Yeah, you get the real eerie sense that the Order might be involved.
Okay. I'm going to go back in. I want to wake Willow up, and we're going to leave.
Right. She kind of stirs, looks. Oh, are we starting early today?
Shh. Grab what you can, we have to leave.
Oh, okay. She really doesn't have much to grab. A bag, she probably grabs that blanket she was working on. And immediately that like strong, happy girl goes back into that sullen, quiet girl that's just doesn't know what's happening but just doing what she's told. Kind of guide her outside of Rebel Square. Where are you planning to go? As far as the things that you know that both of them have said, William has told you that he was a teacher. And Eric, I think you told him that you were a performer at some point.
Yep.
And I think, did you mention your show as well?
Yep.
Right. So he would have mentioned the theater, which is the Diamond.
In fact, Just the other day when we took down that gate outside of the spooky seminary, like I talked about it
Right.
then.
So you would know at least the Diamond Theater, and then for William, you would have heard Spring Hill Charter School, which is in the blue collar district, which is where you are. But is Georgia more likely to go to a William location that's closer and more convenient, or travel halfway across the city to go to Eric? Or go somewhere else?
Either sound actually terrible at the moment because they know where she is. They know her place at work and residence, so there's very strong chance that those locations are also being watched. So she is going to go towards. I'm trying to remember if she knows her or not. I guess she's gonna go towards the casino.
Right. They are definitely open. Heading towards the Golden Oasis Casino. That's perfect. So, as we kind of transition real fast, let's take a quick break. As Eric is working to finish up his writing, William's headed home after a really good meal and a conversation with his new son. And Georgie, in a frightened state, takes Willow off to the casino. All good things. Let's take 5 minutes.
Real good.
And
Yeah, totally.
we'll be back.
Okay. Be right back.
Mm-hmm.